Just ahead on CTV News, business leaders gather in Hyattsville for a roundtable discussion. Plus, county police officers fly into action to rescue an injured bird. And Simon Buggs has your Tuesday sports page. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening, this is CTV News for October 15th. I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, some anti-abortion advocates say the wording of a ballot question posed to Maryland voters this year is troublesome. Question 1 is a ballot measure that would amend the state constitution to preserve, quote, reproductive freedom. Now, the word abortion does not appear in the amendment language, which opponents are calling a major legal loophole. Supporters of the measure say opponents are trying to confuse voters on an issue that already has overwhelming support from 69% of voters in a recent poll. The exact language of the measure states that, in part, confirms an individual's fundamental right to reproductive freedom, including but not limited to the ability to make decisions to prevent, continue, or end the individual's pregnancy. Meanwhile, Maryland could see a major shift in its judicial system. After years of study, a judicial work group is recommending the state eliminate contested elections for its 175 circuit court judges. Now, the group cites ethical concerns and safety risks for judges. Instead, judges would face retention elections every 10 years, giving voters a simple yes or no option to keep them on the bench. The recommendation will likely be a hot topic during the 2025 General Assembly session, as any change would require a constitutional amendment approved by voters. And if you're planning to vote by mail in Maryland next month, today is your last day to get your voter registration submitted online or by mail. The last day to apply for a mail-in ballot is October 29th, but if you've never voted before and don't want to register in person, today is your last chance to register. Now, in Maryland, you can register in person at the polls the same day you vote, any day, including on Election Day, which is November 5th. And a bill that would set aside funding for Black businesses that open within the county was introduced in County Council today. The bill was introduced by Council Member Crystal Oriatha and would add African-American business enterprises, to the Prince George's County Business Expansion and Startup Grant and Loan programs. Oriatha says this initiative would bring the type of business the community needs.
It's important because we really want to create incentives to bring businesses inside of the Beltway. We talk all the time, especially in my community, about how we're tired of seeing the same things, tobacco stores, convenience stores, storage units. But the reality is, unless we invest in having businesses expand and come into those communities, that we might never see the type of development we want. So creating this 20% and set aside for businesses that come in or expand inside of the Beltway, I think is going to be crucial. We need the community to say this is important, that we need to put our money where our mouth is. We can't just say we want businesses to come into these communities, but we have to invest in them.
And the bill will now go to a public forum before an official vote by the council. Well, a woman is dead after police say she was struck by a vehicle in Clinton near Surrattsville High School. Now, officers responded to the area of Piscataway Road and Surratt's Village Drive around 6 this morning. There, police say they discovered an adult female in the roadway and pronounced her dead on the scene. The driver of the involved vehicle did stay on the scene, but the cause of the crash is under investigation. And a pickup truck driver is in critical condition after crashing into the back of a school bus on the inner loop of the Beltway yesterday. The accident occurred around 3 p.m. near Route 50 in Lanham, shutting down 3 lanes. The pickup driver was airlifted to a local hospital. Fortunately, though, the school bus was empty aside from the driver, who was not injured. Maryland State Police is investigating the crash. And several businesses came together at the Cocineros restaurant in Hyattsville for an exciting networking event aimed at strengthening the local business community. Leaders and owners gathered to listen to important topics like marketing strategies, effective staffing, and smart financial planning. And this was just more than a meeting. It was an opportunity to share insights, exchange ideas, and forge valuable connections that can help businesses thrive. Owners shared their perspective on the current economic landscape.
So important because people have dreams and businesses they're trying to grow. We're just a support mechanism to help them to be able to do that. But the other piece is that the economic driver, as businesses pay taxes, they hire people who end up paying taxes, and it helps the city, the revenue in the city to grow as well. And so it's a win-win for everybody.
We always like to come to the Business Roundtable events. It's always a wealth of knowledge and just good connection with other people in the community and other opportunities for B2B partnerships.
And you're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton. Still to come, a local woman is shaking up the diaper aisle. CTV's Katera Jones has a story.
Prince George's County native is bringing diversity to the competitive diaper industry. I'm Katera Jones. I'll tell you all about her brand coming up on CTV News.
For a Native American child living in poverty, opportunities are limited and filled with obstacles. Generational trauma, poverty, and a disconnect from their culture. These children are looking for a new direction, a chance at a better life for their families and communities. At St. Lebre Indian School, Native American children get that chance.
I like that they try to keep us safe. I do feel safe here.
My favorite thing about Lebre is how they incorporate our cultural values into our everyday education.
St. Lebre is more than a school. Here, every child gets the education and tools to become the change makers of tomorrow.
Graduating from Lebre will allow me to attend bigger universities and colleges through their scholarship programs.
Learn more about how St. Lebre is helping lead our children to a future that is proud, prosperous, and free. Learn more at stlebre.org.
You may see a teen struggling to find his way. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we see a teen gaining the confidence and skills to land his first job. You may see a child wrestling with hidden battles. We see a child learning to manage life's twists and turns. And where you may see a distracted teen, we see teens making a difference in their community. Kids today need people to see their potential and help them achieve it. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we do whatever it takes to help kids succeed, from fostering confidence and community to preparing them for graduation and beyond. Because when we see young people, we see limitless possibilities. Do you? Join us, Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Welcome back. If you haven't heard, this morning the Smithsonian National Zoo welcomed two new giant pandas all the way from China. 3-year-olds Bao Li and Qing Bao arrived at Dulles Airport in Virginia via FedEx Panda Express around 10 a.m. Now, it will be a little while before the public can view the pandas as they have to quarantine and get acclimated to their new home. The new panda's arrival marks the continuation of the Giant Panda Conservation Program partnership between China and the U.S. And a team of Prince George's County police officers swooped into action Monday morning to rescue an injured hawk spotted along MLK Jr. Highway. After safely capturing the distressed bird, officers transported it to Frisky's Wildlife and Primate Sanctuary in Howard County, where it will receive treatment. Now, Frisky's specializes in caring for injured wildlife, and the hawk is now on the road to recovery and hopefully soon will be soaring through the skies again. Officials remind the public to call for help if they encounter injured wildlife and avoid direct contact for safety. And firefighters responded to a fire at a single-family home on the 300 block of Addison Road South in Seat Pleasant around 12:50 this afternoon. When they arrived, they found a fire in the attic. One adult female was transported to the hospital in critical condition. No one else was in the home.
Firefighters gained entry to the house, found a small fire within the home. They also located a older, elderly female in critical condition that was removed from the house and transported by ambulance in critical condition. There were also several pets in the house. We do have a couple of deceased animals. They arrived on scene very quickly. Proud of the work our firefighters did in such a tragic situations. And like I said, the elderly female was transported in critical condition.
And the cause of that fire is under investigation. Meanwhile, the city of Mount Rainier wants to help homeowners make repairs to their home. The municipality is offering grant money to eligible residents to help with essential home repairs. The home repair program, which launched in 2023, has already helped 11 households. Now, residents could get up to $7,500 in funding from the initiative, and the money can be used for repairs to a roof, chimney, and bathrooms, among others. Now, the deadline to apply is October 25th, but for more details, make sure you visit that website right there on your screen. And a Prince George's County native is looking to disrupt the baby product industry, one diaper and training pant at a time. Unique Jones Gibson is the CEO of the Happy Hughes Company, a business based here in the county. CTV's Katara Jones caught up with Jones Gibson at her warehouse in Lanham, where she talked about how her company got started.
I'm inside the Happy Hughes Company warehouse, which is located right here in Lanham. Now, this company started off with just one product, these training pants, but now the company has expanded to include not only training pants, but wipes and diapers.
I created the Happy Hughes Company after realizing that there really weren't any options for diverse characters on training pants.
The Happy Hughes Company, which was launched back in February of 2023, is the brainchild of entrepreneur and Mama 3 Unique Jones Gibson. The idea came to her when she noticed the lack of diversity of training pants for children that looked like her own daughter.
What I saw lacking in the market was really a sense of inclusivity and diversity. My daughter at the time was 3 years old, and I went to put a pair of training pants on her, and the character on the training pants was Cinderella. And prior to having my daughter, I have 2 sons, and so I was used to Mickey Mouse and race trucks and things like that. But something about seeing Cinderella, I just wanted this night something that reflected her a little bit more closely. And so I asked my husband, do we have Tiana or Moana? And he explained to me that sometimes those characters come out, but they're very limited. And I started thinking about all of the other kids like my child who really deserved an opportunity to see themselves reflected.
The company's first product were training pants called Big Ups. On the training pants and diapers, you will see a diverse group of characters known as the Happy Hughes crew.
It was extremely important to have our own set of characters because we knew that that would be a positive step forward in terms of our goals of diversity and inclusion by having these characters that parents or children could reimagine themselves of was very important, and it gave us the opportunity to create content, to create animations, to create learning tools, to put stickers in the box and to really leverage them to the full extent that we can think of.
The Happy Hughes Company is sold in-store and online at Target. Jones Gibson, who was raised here in the county, credits her upbringing for her success.
For me, a lot of the grit, the grind, the hustle, the dream, and the belief comes from being raised in this county and being exposed to other Black entrepreneurs and business owners and professionals who look like me, who made it not seem crazy for me to aspire to do big things as well because it was normalized in the community. And so I really credit the county with the confidence that I have.
Jones Gibson says that the demand for her products are so high that she often has to house them at other warehouses before they get sent to their final destination. Katara Jones, CTV News.
All right, Katara, thanks so much for that report. Now, Jones Gibson is also the creator of the viral game known as Culture Tags, which became popular during the pandemic. She says she used the money made from Culture Tags and poured that into the research and development for the Happy Hughes Company. All right, so to come on CTV News, a local amusement park gives us a preview of their upcoming spooky season.
Here at Six Flags, and I'm currently running for my life. I'm Bryce Parker. Find out if I make it coming up on CTV News.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
This land we love belongs to all of us. Yet, not everyone is treated equally. Right now, millions of Americans are fighting for the things promised to all by the Constitution. Freedom, justice, equality. The ACLU is leading the fight to protect our civil liberties. Together, we can protect and advance our rights nationwide. Because we the people means all of us.
This land was made for you and me.
Learn how the ACLU is defending the right to vote, free speech, and other civil liberties at myaclu.org.
Bad news, you've been arrested. Good news, you're innocent until proven guilty. Bail is set at $1,000. If you got that, good news, you go home and await your trial. If you don't, sorry, you go to jail to wait for weeks or months. But sure, you still presumed innocent. But since you can't afford bail, you've lost your freedom, and that's not right. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail, because freedom should be free.
On game day, you see our strength, but we see yours too. We see the strength it takes to get screened, facing your fears while still having hope, knowing that even with great strength, there are some battles best fought with people by your side. Getting screened is the first step.
Lower mortgage rates and increased inventory are creating better conditions for home buyers in Maryland and the Mid-Atlantic this fall. According to a report from Bright MLS, in the Baltimore area, new pending sales rose by 10% in September, with inventory increasing for 8 straight months. However, home prices remain high, with a median price of $397,000. And the Washington metro area also saw a rise in pending sales, up 15%, but high prices continue to challenge buyers. Now, despite affordability concerns, falling mortgage rates and more supply are expected to drive strong year-end sales. And Maryland is joining a select group of states that are stepping up to require adult-sized changing tables in public buildings. This initiative is part of a nationwide push to make public restrooms more accessible, especially in places like airports, parks, and gas stations. Now, right now, many people with disabilities have no choice but to change on bathroom floors or even in cars. While the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act doesn't specifically mandate these tables, new legislation will soon require them in many airports, paving the way for states to implement their own building codes. And Governor Wes Moore and Maryland's congressional delegation announced almost $14 million in federal funding to enhance workforce development and education for individuals with disabilities. The funds, administered through the Maryland Department of Disabilities, aim to improve access to resources, promote data sharing, and boost employment outcomes. Now, Moore emphasized Maryland's commitment to inclusion, stating, quote, "Leave no one behind is our governing philosophy." The grants, which will include $9 million from the U.S. Department of Education and $4.5 million from the Social Security Administration, will run for 5 years. And Walgreens has announced today that they will soon be closing more than 1,200 stores over the next 3 years, with 800 more under evaluation. The drugstore chain cites heavy competition with online competitors and declining prescription drug payments as part of their reasons for closings. Now, back in May, Walgreens slashed prices on more than 1,000 items following rivals in an effort to lure back inflation-weary shoppers turned off by high prices. There are currently 83 locations in Maryland. And the holidays are right around the corner, so retailers are gearing up for supply and demand. Amazon announced that they'll be hiring 4,000 seasonal jobs in Maryland this holiday season. The company is currently hiring for pickers, packers, stowers, and overall problem solvers. Seasonal employees also have access to comprehensive benefits like health care coverage as soon as they begin working. Pay for seasonal jobs start at $18 per hour, but for more information, visit amazon.com/localjobs. And it's October, and that means we are in the middle of spooky season, and Six Flags is bringing the thrills to anyone brave enough to visit them. CTV's Bryce Parker has more.
The most wonderful time of year has finally arrived for fans of thrills, as Fright Fest and Boo Fest are in full effect at Six Flags.
A lot of people know us for Fright Fest, but we also have Kids Boo Fest that runs all day long in the park from 12 to 8 p.m. Starting last year, we split the park in half, so now our families get 3 dedicated realms just for them all day long. And then on the other half of the park, you can enjoy, after 6 p.m., our traditional Fright Fest, including 5 scare zones, 5 haunted houses, and 5 amazing shows.
So right now we're walking through one of the haunted houses of Fright Fest, and if you dare and have the guts to walk through with us, be ready to be scared. There's an emphasis this year on fear.
We do aim to terrorize, so we're full force in it. You'll find things at your feet, things in the air. Anywhere that is unexpected, we're there trying to scare you.
Fright Fest also offers 5 Halloween-themed shows for customers who aren't fans of being startled.
We've really upped our game in our shows. I cannot recommend them more.
But as Public says, it's the immersive experience of every Fright Fest element coming together that makes this time of year special.
You're constantly experiencing new things. Everything's kind of interwoven together. And I think that's the coolest part, is being able to hit all of those great scares for the season, but then also have really great thrill rides intermixed as well. It's just the perfect balance of a fall evening.
In Bowie, I'm Bryce Parker, CTV News.
Definitely an interesting theme there, and Bryce did not look scared at all. All right, well, Fright Fest will only be available for 2 more weekends. The last day to enjoy the Halloween fun at Six Flags is October 27th. And don't go anywhere. Simon Buggs has the Tuesday Sports page after the break.
Dear sports fans, stay right there. It's coming right up. I've got a recap for you on a local NFL matchup that was played over the weekend. I'll have more details on the other side of the break. Don't move.
It's like we just arrived.
I'm here today because of Tanya's relentless efforts in trying to get me healed. When I came back from the war, I became a homeless veteran. I was barely hanging on by a thread. The one thing that was constant for me was music. Music led me to Tanya. Normally with a veteran, we think we can solve everything. The truth of the matter is we cannot.
I just knew that something was different, something was off. I let him know that he wasn't alone. There are people that loved him.
And says, Michael, I know you've got a plan to take your life today, but if you give me just 5 more minutes to love you.
5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, honey, 5 more minutes to love.
Michael has actually taught me what it looks like to accept help.
Won't you leave it at the door?
Hey Dad, do you think you could teach me how to shave these off?
It may sound funny, but hearing actually happens in our brains, not our ears. Our ears are like mail carriers that deliver sound, so our brains can figure out what's going on. So what is going on? Well, it's pretty simple. When our ears work better, our brains hear better. And that's a happier thing. Like Happy Dance, happier.
Hearing loss puts you at greater risk for dementia. So see a hearing professional and let's get those ears checked.
All right, everybody, you know what time it is. Let's get into it. It was a battle of the Beltway over the weekend as my Washington Commanders traveled to Charm City to take on the Baltimore Ravens. And Baltimore sent their fans home happy as they won their 4th straight game, beating Washington 30-23. A big reason for the Purple and Black's dub on Sunday was Derrick Henry, who ran the air out of the football. The 4-time Pro Bowler rushed for 132 yards and 2 tubs. And head coach John Harbaugh praised Henry for how much of a difference maker he is.
What the difference Derrick Henry has made, I guess, is pretty clear. You know, you see it. So I think I agree with what you're saying. It's a different kind of rushing attack with him, right? Because of the way he runs the ball. I mean, he's one of a kind. He's one of one. You know, you try to make. Someone asked me in the production meeting this week, who do you compare him to? I'm like, man, who do you compare him to? I mean, I saw the Eric Dickerson article. Okay, I think there's some similarity. I remember Eric Dickerson coming up. But after that, and even that, I don't know, man, he's one of one.
Baltimore will face off next against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday. And some disappointing news for us Commanders fans, as defensive tackle Jonathan Allen will miss the rest of the year due to season-ending surgery on a torn pectoral muscle. The two-time Pro Bowler suffered the injury during the game against the Ravens. So far this season, Allen has recorded 2 sacks, 13 tackles, and 2 tackles for loss. Meanwhile, some sad news out of the Terp sports community as former men's lacrosse player Ray Altman passed away over the weekend after his battle with leukemia. Altman attended UMD and was an attackman on the school's lacrosse team from 1961 to 63. And during that time, he earned 2 All-American honors and was given the Jack Turnbull Award for the nation's top attackman. When the Maryland native graduated, he was the program's record holder for points with 214 and assists with 146. Altman was inducted into the Maryland Athletics Hall of Fame in 2003. Altman was 83 years old. And wrapping up sports, the UMD women's soccer team snapped their losing streak on Sunday. The Lady Terps took down Nebraska 2-0. They'll travel to St. Paul to take on Minnesota next on Thursday. And that wraps up your Tuesday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
All right, Simon, thanks so much. Before we go, let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight will be partly cloudy with lows in the 40s. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with a high of 57. Thursday, more sunshine is on the way. We'll have a high of 59 and low of 40. Friday will also be nice and sunny. Expect a high of 67. And finally, let's take a look at our community calendar. This Thursday, R&B superstar Bryson Tiller will be at the MGM National Harbor. Tiller is widely known for his hit single Don't and was nominated for a Grammy in 2017 for his song Exchange. Showtime starts at 8 p.m., but for more information, contact 844-646-6847. And that's all the time we have. Thanks so much for joining us for CTV News. We'll see you again tomorrow.